I've got a 2012 Jaguar XF Supercharged, and I needed to go through and replace the upper control arm and also the strut. The cap up at the top had started deteriorating, and you can see, it's hard to see in this light, but you can see that there was grease coming up from around that base. But anyways, this upper control arm got off of eBay, about $100, and then the strut, same thing, got it off of eBay. I think it was a wrecked 2010 Supercharged that would have been the same part and all that for $160. So to get all this out, to get the upper control arm bolts out from up here, you have to pull down the strut as well. So just replace it all at once, made it a little easier to make all that happen. So the easiest way to do this is to put the car up on a jack stand and then use your floor jack to be able to manipulate the suspension as you're going through and replacing and undoing the parts. The hardest part is getting the strut out altogether, and I'll show you up at the top the bolts you got to undo to get that done. But there is another bolt that's over here on this side that you have to be able to get out. You can kind of see it right up in there. That's the Torx, and that is a, double check, that's a T60 that gets that out, and I have it on a half-inch drive to pull that out. So the process and the steps that you need to go through to make this happen, I took the upper control arm bolt off at here, take that out, and then let this come out all together. You'll see it kind of flop out. And then the biggest thing is also being able to take off this sway bar arm that comes off. You've got a bolt here you've got to take out, and then you actually have to take it fully out. And to do that, there's another bolt on this side that you take out, and that will give you enough clearance to get the strut out. So when all this is dropped down and the floor jack's not jacking it up, it'll give you access to be able to take out that upper control arm, or sorry, the sway bar coupling. And when you get that out, and you take out that T60 on the strut, all you have to do at that point is come up here, and I just loosened my radiator. I can't talk today. Just loosen this radiator overflow tank, so I could get access to the upper strut bolts. So you can see that you've got 4 of them there that you need to take off. Don't take off the middle one, that goes down to the sensor. The sensor plug is right here, and it's pretty easy just to unplug that. It's just a squeeze clip. And then when you're doing the upper control arm, there's this nut that's down here on this side that you got to take out. And then underneath here, if you pull this out, there's another one down inside there that you got to get to. This is probably the hardest one. I went ahead and took out this and this just to give me more flex here, and then I stuck a piece of metal or something to pull this up, and then you got to kind of feel around and get that out. So the reason why the strut has to come out is that the bolts for the upper control arm can't clear the spring. And so when you take off the nuts on the upper control arm from up here, and there are stops, which is one nice thing. There's stops on the bolts. And so when you're pulling off the nuts at the top, you might have to feel around just to kind of hold them in place as you're undoing it. But then once that's done and you've got the strut out, those bolts pull straight out, and then you just reverse the whole thing and go back to normal. I did it by putting the strut back into place. Then I put in the sway bar coupling or linkage back in, made sure all that was nice and tight. I just put the strut kind of loosened and made sure that I could get the bolt in there by jacking up the suspension and getting it to where I needed it to be. And then I did the upper control arm, put those bolts back here in the back first, then put the strut in, then do the sway bar linkage, then put the bolt through the strut, and then came out here and did this. Then tighten everything up to torque specs, and you should be good. This is a fairly simple job. It takes a little bit of time if you haven't done it before. There's not a lot of great videos out there, but take it off in that step and then replace it, and make sure you get all the bolts and all that stuff done. All right, good luck.